Let's talk about the Summer Fête, which, as of the recording of this video, is just a few weeks away. So I thought it would be fun to talk about some traditions, some celebrations, some of the deeper plant-centric green mysteries of the season, and maybe give you some inspiration to connect in your own way and explore. I want to start this very short class out with a reading from the Green Art Craft of the Herbwise, which is a book that I wrote that will be released worldwide November 2022. So let's begin there. In the summer we rise in power and reach in two directions. The wild world, with full canopy and strong body and vibrant energy, embraces the heat of summer and allows the raw power of the sun to move through unseen ancient channels. It is at this time the plants are performing their great mystery, transforming the sun's light into energy, the energy which carries their virtues into our inner worlds as medicine and nourishment and true magic. The land goddess is hot and lush, witness to the great feats of her children as they grow and blossom and fruit. She finds her reflection in every flower humming with bees and birds, and is felt as the firm earth who holds all beings in a mother's embrace. The great green god is Lord of Leaves, rising in power as the plants rise in sap. Each flower inspired to grow is an offering from his heart to hers, every leaf a sacred altar of transformation, and still small fruits emerging after the great ride of pollinators and plant spirits. Flowers bloom and fade, giving way to colorful fruits that entice the senses and captivate the spirit. In this peak of power is hidden the dark reflection of winter, seeds of sleep within the flesh of ripening fruits. All the spirits of place give their festivals and stay up late into short, warm nights. Animals walk stronger, birds fly higher, and the air is charged with the sacred breath of the green spirits. The plants themselves reach down into the eternal nourishment of the land and up towards the sun. Reaching in two directions, they are bridges between the worlds. So the way I celebrate it, the Summer Fête, is when we officially enter the bright half of the year. We shake off the last remaining vestiges of winter, the cold rain, the intense winds in some places in springtime can still feel just as wintry as winter. So it's really at this time that we feel like we've moved into true summer. And this is that first day of May with all of those ancient ancestral traditions connected to May Day and Beltane and all of that. This is when it really starts to feel lush and vibrant and green and alive. The land is really waking up, and the plant spirits feel like they have fully moved over to our side of the hedge. They spend the winter, the dark half of the year, invested in their roots, invested in the darkness, the mystery in their side, and they spend the bright half invested in our side. It's a rhythm, a breath. And through this passing, through this moving of the plant spirits from root to fruit, the veil or the hedge is made thin. So just as we experience at the autumn fete, at Samhain, that the hedge becomes thin, the veil that separates our world from the world of otherness is a little bit more permeable, we experience it in exactly the same way now. The difference is that at autumn tide, the energy is moving from here to there, and at summer tide, it's moving from there to here. So there's definitely an electric charge in the air. There's a mystery, there's right? All of that's going on, but it takes on a little bit more levity at May, whereas November, it has a little bit more of a dark energy, a somber energy. So the hedge is thin, which is an invitation to so many great acts of plant magic and work. We see so many festivals, the May Day bonfires, the maypole, May Day revels, competitions in the old Celtic traditions. We also find lots of events centered around the Green Man and the May Goddess through Morris dances and sides and Buryman traditions of Scotland, May Day pageants and all of that. So this has historically, timelessly been, just as Samhain is its opposite, a really important time of year. And in my particular tradition, this is really the pivot. This to me is the best festival. It's my favorite. It's the one I look the most forward to, and it's where I feel like the most amount of medicine and magic can be found. So I tend to dedicate this festival to the great green god, the evergreen lord, the king of the wood, the wild one, and we work with him as the bringer of sap, as the one who opens the gates between this world and the other, and is the sovereign protector of all plant spirits and the green realm, the keeper and guardian of the green mysteries, the watcher of ancient tracks. This is very much a time appropriate to honoring and working with him. But no matter what your tradition is, there is certainly an invitation at the thinning of the hedge and the blossoming of life to honor the deities that you work with, honor the spirits that you work with, and of course, honor our blessed dead, remembering that the seed of all of this life is contained within the mystery of death. That summer is contained in autumn. That growth is contained in decay. So there's an invitation to that mystery meditation as well. I like to think of some plant-based alignments with each of the fates. And so when we come to summertide, I think of the fruiting state of plants, the rise of power, summer, the direction of south, the plant animal spirit of elk, noontime, the full moon, the element of fire. Here the green man wears oak leaves to show the vitality and power of life, and the lady of land is bedecked in the flowers of fertility. Our plant medicine work during this season, and I like to think that every season offers us a really interesting opportunity to do work on ourselves for our own healing, for our own wellness, is that of adaptogenic support, building up those reserves, getting ready for long days filled with events and festivals and more time spent out, more time spent active. So consider how you can nourish the body, support digestion and metabolism, and really make sure that you're not burning yourself out. And how I like to do that is by calling in those adaptogenic herbs to help us build up our adaptive reserves and keep us nice and energized, nice and balanced, good calm energy for the summer ahead. I like to do different things each year to celebrate the summer fete and to align to this festival in my own ways. I don't do everything I'm going to share with you every single year. It really depends on how I feel, what kinds of work I'm doing, but I want to share just a few with you to maybe inspire you. The first is that if you work with any specific vegetal deities, agrarian deities that are closely wrapped up with the plant cycles or are protectors of plants or the plant mysteries, we can lean into this old tradition of building a Wicker Man as an offering to them. And what I like to do is just take small dried branches and fashion just a little crude sort of human formed cage and stuff that with offerings, dried herbs, fruits, baked breads, effigies, all that stuff can be stuffed in there and wrapped up in ribbon or twine. And then you can set that in a bonfire pit and douse it in alcohol and start it on fire as an offering of energy and vital force and love and devotion to the deities of your particular tradition. If you have trees that you care for, that grow in your yard or ones that you visit that provide food or medicine for you, this is a really powerful opportunity to go to the deepest roots of the Maypole tradition. Maypole is a newer tradition in the scope of things. So what I'm going to share with you goes to the deepest visionary animist traditions of plant spirit work that root out in what became Maypole. And that is to go and dress a tree, right? So instead of cutting the tree down and fashioning a pole, and even instead of bringing the Maybush inside and dressing that almost like people dress a Christmas tree, we actually connect with a living tree who provides sustenance for us, a tree that we are in allyship with or that we want to get to know better, a tree that provides fruit for us at the end of the season, or medicine, or even just shade, a tree that you spend a lot of time being protected from the hot summer sun. However that shows up for you, there's a simple ritual of just going and dressing the tree. And I like to do colored cloth, colored ribbons, lots of music, lots of sound, offerings of food, free-flowing, pouring of libations, and really just connecting to tree as portal, tree as center, as axis, as gateway, and also as a way to just remember how much we are given by the plant spirits through sort of just connecting to one tree. You can, of course, perform any rituals or magics or medicines as part of this ritual. The most important part is that after the dressing and the festivities, even if that's lightly dressing the tree, maybe doing a bonfire or just a picnic and hanging out for an hour, you need to undress the tree. Clean up completely, leave no trace. Don't leave any ties in the tree. Any offerings that remain should be offerings that the critters of the area will enjoy and will be able to take. You don't want anything rotting. You don't want anything left that will cause damage to the soil or to the tree or to any of the critters that might eat whatever you leave. So all of that has to be kind of contemplated in advance. Make sure that you walk out with the space better than you found it. Even if that betterness is just your love and devotion, but leave no trace. Another really fantastic thing to do at this time of year is to go visit any local wells that are near you, any sources of water, and make offerings and express gratitude and prayers to those places. Maybe collect a little bit of water to use ritually throughout the rest of the year. Well dressing and making offerings to the wells at summertide, at May Day, is very, very traditional, and something that I think those of us who get our water by turning on a tap and having it sort of just magically appear, we are well served by remembering that water comes from somewhere, right? That before it passes into a pipe and is filtered and checked and analyzed and delivered right into our kitchen sink, that water is wild and untamed and bubbling up from the world below. It's a gift from the other side. So go find a well or a pump or even a local stream or river or pond, and give due offerings, give due respect to the water. Learn about where your water comes from, where the water table is that supports you and your people. Another thing I like to do at this time of year is get into some chlorophyll magic. Really, you can bring literal chlorophyll medicine into your body, but the meditation on the relationship between the plant spirits and the sun and their ability to transform solar energy into vital force is a very interesting meditation. And it's very interesting to see how we can do the same, where our transformative power is, how we catch raw energy or wildness and transform that through intent and will into magic and medicine in our lives. So sit and gaze, watch plants as they turn their leaves towards the sun and soak up that light and that heat that for most of us would, over the course of one day, burn us quite severely. But the plants have this relationship, and they are able to transform that intense fire energy, that intense light energy, into a form that we then ingest and is suitable for our bodies. So there's this alchemical metamorphosis process that is really beautiful and really magical to meditate on through the longest days of the year. What else? Find a wild place to steward. You go to a park, you get a little sit spot you go to, a little wild place you go to. Maybe there's a tree in a parking strip, that doesn't fall in anyone's property. Take something personally, right? As a challenge for the summer and maybe the autumn too. Maybe set 3 months, and go check in with that plant, twice a week. Go on a walk twice a week or more. Go check on that tree or that stand of plants. Clean up any litter. tidy things up a little bit. You know, if they look like they're struggling, bring them a small offering of water. Sit with them, sing to them, read with them, meditate next to them. Do something to take the wellness of the plant people who show up near you personally, to take responsibility for them as members of your community. And again, for me, picking up trash is a massive offering. You know, taking when people have nailed a sign into a tree or hung something from that tree, cut it down. You know, do the good work. Sometimes you got to go at night and you need to dress in all black, and that's okay. It's a good thing to do. But we take care of those spirits because even if it's off our radar, they're taking care of us. So we want to participate in the cycle of sacred reciprocity and enter into that kinship with them. Have a bonfire, have some parties, you know. Things are getting better, things are getting more open. Light a bonfire, have some people over, spend some time outside celebrating with your bare feet on the grass or on the dirt, enjoying the company of your family and your friends outdoors. You know, letting the fullness of what summer is move through you. You know, I think this is very important. So it's something that we usually do anyway, but we can do it with a little bit more mindfulness. And last but not least, this time, the Summer Fête, May Day, is very much traditionally a time of initiations and bringing in new dedicants and new students. So this is a time of year when if people have been petitioning me to study or to learn with me, this is kind of when I formally bring them in and we take them into the fold and start giving them the mysteries. So if you're dedicated to any specific plant spirits, any specific deities, now is a really beautiful time to sort of redo your vows, you know, restate your intentions, find places where the relationship has maybe fallen into a little bit of, you know, it's gotten a little stagnant or stale. Rededicate yourself. If you carry any jewelry or symbols that relate to your initiations, clean them up, rededicate them. Maybe the altar or the shrine needs to get a little overhaul. Maybe you need to go back to any vows or commitments or oaths that you made when you initiated yourself or were given initiation and redo them. Make it a yearly thing, you know, where you go in and remind yourself why you do what you do and how you are connected to your allies, to your non-human kin and your human kin. You know, May Day can be a time to celebrate our human teachers as well and to reaffirm our dedication to the work that we're trying to do together and to honor the people who are teaching us from this side of the hedge and the other. So a time of initiations and dedication, a time to state our intent and stick to it, to drum up the will to walk an entire year doing the good work, and to dust stuff off if they've gotten dusty. Look at it under the full brightness of the summer sun and see if anything's gotten a little shadowy. You know, if there's some room for you to step your work up a little bit. So just a few points on Summer Fête. No matter what you do or where you are or how you celebrate, I hope that the year is lovely and filled with magic and medicine and many, many plant friends for you. And I'll see you next time.